Welcome to Upgrade Envie, where we talk about ways you can improve your board games to help them stand out just a little bit more. Today, we're talking about painting your board gaming miniatures. More and more companies are including miniatures into their board games these days. That includes companies like Fantasy Flight Games, and this miniature from Journeys in Middle-earth. And we have a miniature here from Blood Rage by Simon, who's sort of become the standard for board gaming miniatures. And these are really highly detailed miniatures, which is something that's relatively new to board gaming. You also have companies that are putting out board games with pre-painted miniatures. Now, these aren't from an actual board game, but these are pre-painted miniatures from WizKids for Pathfinder role-playing game. And you can see that there's nothing wrong with these paint jobs. These are actually really nicely done paint jobs with some really good detail. And these are just pre-painted miniatures. This is how they come. Now, I do have a few others just for comparison. These are miniatures that I have personally painted, and I'm by no means an expert. But you can see that when comparing these to the pre-painted miniatures, you're not really losing anything by going with these pre-painted miniatures. The quality on them is really quite nice. And then just for another reference, I actually have some miniatures here that I got professionally painted. And obviously these are going to be a higher quality paint job than what you would normally get from pre-painted. And even if you started to paint, it would probably take you a while to accomplish something like this. But that's just a comparison. On the table, from a distance, they all look great. The only ones that really stand out are these unpainted ones. So you have to ask yourself, am I interested in painting my board gaming miniatures? So let's take a look at one of my favorite games, Blood Rage. So if you had backed Blood Rage on their most recent Kickstarter, this is what you would have received. And the idea of painting all of this, while Blood Rage may be one of your favorite games, is extremely daunting, especially to somebody who's maybe never painted before. And even if you decide you just want to paint your favorite clan, or maybe just a few of the monsters available in the game, that's still a big commitment for a new painter. Not just in time, but also in money, because now you've got to go out and you've got to buy brushes and paints and all the other paraphernalia that comes with miniature painting. Instead, I would suggest starting with something like this. These are Whiz Kids paint night kits. They have two of them so far, the Manticore and the Ogre Zombie. I'm hoping they come out with more because I think these are really interesting and a great way for people to learn if they're interested in miniature painting. Before you go out and spend all that money and commit to this huge project, maybe just go out and get one of these kits, which includes everything you need to paint this specific miniature. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's inside here. So obviously the first thing you're going to get is the miniature that you're going to be painting. Going with the Ogre Zombie here. Now I have done a live stream of this particular figure, which you will find in the video description. So if you're interested in seeing this painted, we've got you covered. You've got a base down here in case you want to put it on an extra base, although it does come with this pretty nice molded base here. So there is your Ogre Zombie. These are pre-primed, so you can just paint straight onto these. You don't need to do any sort of prep work if you don't want to. And again, they did include a base in case you want to base him at the end on top of that. But the really interesting part about these paint night kits is that it comes with everything else you'll need as well. So you got a little water tray here. It comes with 2 brushes. Let it never be said that WizKids doesn't securely put their products in their box. These actually don't look like synthetic brushes. These look like natural hair brushes, which is pretty nice. Nice little inclusion for them. You got a few little voids here. That's to use as your palette when you're painting. So you'll use this actual plastic organizer here while you're painting. That's the intention of it. And then you've got all the paints that they suggest you use on this model. They actually have a video guide to how to paint this model. So where exactly you're going to use each one of these and in what step. And this is more paint than you're actually going to need to do this model. So you could potentially do multiple of them, or you just have these extra paints now, and that's a good start to your painting collection. But most importantly, I think this is a great starting step for new painters, because you get to learn if painting is something you're interested in. If you paint this and you hate the experience, you're probably not going to enjoy, 20 times the amount of time investment to paint Blood Rage. So that is the Paint Night Kit for WizKids. Again, we did do a live stream of this. If you're interested, go ahead and take a look at that in the video description. But now we've got some other products from WizKids to show you, and we're going to announce what you get in our little giveaway. So WizKids does a ton of different products. Mostly they're focused on RPGs, D&D, and Pathfinder and things like that, but they can be used in other things as well. All of these miniatures that you're seeing here are pre-primed, so that's really helpful. It saves you a step. Let's go ahead and take a look at this Minotaur that we've got right here with detachable cloak. So obviously they do these big figures, and these will be monster figures, things that would show up in a D&D campaign. But these are really cool. They got the little translucent sword going on. They have these smaller packs, which could be like character packs if you're playing role-playing games or monsters. They got these slightly larger monster packs over here. This is their Marvelous Miniatures line. So here we have a Bone Naga. Or a Death Centipede, however you want to look at it. And they do these terrain kits, which are really cool. This would be more like something that I would paint and put on a shelf personally. I don't typically use much of this terrain in my RPG games, but there's probably a few of you out there that are really interested in these sort of terrain kits. So this is another product line that they do. So finally, let's take a look at our giveaway. So here's everything you're going to get if you're our lucky winner from our giveaway. First, we've got the Manicore Paint Night Kit, which comes with the Manicore figure, along with all the paints you'll need, the 2 brushes, the water pot, all those things that you saw from the Ogre Zombie Kit. We've got some player pieces here, some Elf Sorcerer pieces and Orc Adventurers. A couple monsters, maybe to use in your next D&D game, the Gorgon and the Nalfeshni. And we got a giant ape, because who doesn't need a giant ape? Last thing we have is this little terrain kit. Different from the last one we've shown you. This is the Royal Court, so you got a whole bunch of different court figures in there, the king and the queen and the page and a couple knights, a couple thrones to put your royalty on, and a couple additional little pieces just for fun. But that's everything you're going to get from our giveaway. If you want to stick around, the last thing we got to show you is before and after of our live painting of our Ogre Zombie.